Welcome to our video on the confirmed spells in the highly anticipated game Hogwarts Legacy. In this video, we'll be discussing all the spells that have been officially revealed, including the Unforgivable Curses, and how they will be used in the game. From the basic spells like Incendio to more advanced and powerful curses like Avada Kedavra, we'll be exploring each spell's unique properties and potential uses. So grab your wand and get ready to learn all about the magic that will be available in Hogwarts Legacy. In Hogwarts Legacy, players will have access to a variety of spells that can be used in both combat and non-combat situations. These spells can be divided into two main categories: essential spells and slottable spells. Essential spells are spells that are crucial for the player's survival and progression in the game, and they are always accessible on the controller and used in a specific context. One example of an essential spell is the Revelio charm, which is located on the left of the D-pad. The Revelio charm in the game Hogwarts Legacy is an essential spell because it is used to uncover concealed objects, passages, information, and secrets in the game, such as field guide pages, which awards the player with experience points and progression in a field guide challenge. This spell is useful for revealing magic and uncovering secrets within the game. Due to its importance and frequent use in revealing information and secrets, it is always accessible on the controller, making it an essential spell. Other examples of essential spells are Protego and Stupefy, which have a unique connection that I will further explain. Protego is a shield charm that creates a strong magical barrier around the caster, giving them the ability to deflect attacks and do a counter-attack. When the player sees a halo around their character's head, it indicates an incoming attack. If the player presses the triangle button at the right time, they can deflect the incoming spell. If they hold the triangle button and time it correctly, they will not only deflect the attack, but also follow up with a counter-attack using the spell Stupefy to stun the opponent, leaving them open for a follow-up attacks. These are essential spells for the player's survival and are always accessible on the controller. The Oppugno Jinx is an essential spell that is not bound to your spell diamond, but rather to the R1 button that shows up above any object you are able to launch at an enemy. This spell directs an object to attack your victim and can be used to fling barrels at enemies or even plunge disarmed weapons like swords into attackers. It is a versatile spell that adds an extra layer of strategy to combat and can be used in conjunction with other spells to create a spell combinations that works well together. It seems the damage this spell is capable of relies on the type of object you choose to launch at your enemies. Explosive barrels seems to deal significant damage. I'd like to take a moment and explain the Spell Diamond, a feature in Hogwarts Legacy that allows the player to access and use their spells in combat and exploration. The Spell Diamond is a user interface element that displays slottable spells that the player can earn throughout the game. Each Spell Diamond can hold up to 4 spells. The player can trigger a basic attack by tapping the R2 on the controller. However, holding the R2 will expand the Spell Diamond, allowing the player to access all the spells they have slotted. Players can gain up to 4 additional Spell Diamonds, allowing them to slot up to 16 spells and access them quickly in combat by holding R2 and tapping the D-pad. The spellcasting also reinforces an understanding of another mechanic, which is cooldowns. Spells have cooldowns to prevent excessive use of spells. You will be able to slot spells in the Spell Diamond by hitting right on the D-pad, which shows as a grid in the bottom right of the screen above the Spell Diamond. Our first slottable spell on our list is Accio. The spell Accio is a summoning charm that allows the player to pull objects closer to them. It can be used to move platforms in dungeons, pull objects out of reach, and even pull enemies in close for spell combos in combat. It also has utility outside of combat, such as collecting field guide pages. It is important to mention that the spell has a cooldown when used in combat, but no cooldown when used outside of combat. The Depulso charm is the opposite of the Accio charm. It can be used in combat to send enemies away, stop charging enemies, and deal extra damage if the player successfully launches enemies into destructible objects. The Levioso spell, also known as the Levitation charm Wingardium Leviosa, is a spell that allows the player to lift objects and move them around in air. In combat, It can be used to lift enemies in the air, leaving them open for a follow-up wand attacks. It is also expected to have an important role in solving puzzles by moving objects around. The Descendo spell is a spell that makes objects fall or move downwards. In the game, it can be used to slam enemies down in combat. The spell makes the target bounce off the ground and then returns into the air with this temporary floating mechanic, opening up the door for further spell combos. While we have only seen this spell used in combat so far, it will likely have an out-of-combat uses as well, such as lowering ladders to gain access to otherwise inaccessible areas. The Incendio spell is a fire-making charm that conjures a jet of flames that can be used to set enemies and objects on fire. It can also have out-of-combat uses such as lighting fires or torches and clearing flammable obstacles. Upgrading this spell will likely give it an area of effect to set multiple enemies on fire at once. The spell Glacius is a spell that freezes targets with an icy cold air created from the tip of the wand. In combat, it can be used to freeze enemies on the ground and then make the ice explode, damaging and blowing back enemies in the vicinity. It can also be seen used to freeze spiders in the Forbidden Forest in the gameplay trailer. It may also have out-of-combat uses such as freezing water or extinguishing fires, which can be useful in solving puzzles in the game. The spell Reparo, also known as the Mending Charm, is a spell that can be used to fix broken objects and works on most materials. It will likely have an in-game mechanics where the player will need to repair ladders, bridges, and pathways to progress through the game and access certain areas. The spell Reducto, also known as the Reductor Curse, is a spell that destroys solid objects by blasting them into pieces. It can reduce its target to dust or ash. While it's not confirmed whether the player will have access to the spell, it is likely, as it has been seen used against the player in combat objective. Lumos is a spell that creates light at the end of the wand, which is useful in dark environments and can also reveal hidden illusions and other hidden objects. It does not have a cooldown and is a more utility-based charm. Another interesting utility-based spell is the Alohomora charm, which is used to unlock objects such as doors and chests. As seen in this footage, the player passes by a door with a level 1 lock, suggesting that players will have to upgrade the Alohomora charm through talents as they progress in the game in order to unlock more difficult doors and chests. The Expelliarmus spell is a disarming charm that forces its target to drop whatever they are holding in their hands. In addition to disarming enemies, the player can also use the disarmed weapon to attack their opponent, as demonstrated in footage where a reanimated knight was disarmed of his sword, and the player used the Oppugno Jinx to quickly grab the disarmed weapon and use it on the attacker. It is clear that the game's combat system is designed to allow players to chain together different spells, making for a fluid and dynamic fighting experience. The interactions between spells like Expelliarmus and Oppugno are a great example of this design philosophy in action, and it is something that I personally find very exciting. Similar interaction can be found between the Disillusionment charm and the Full Body Bind curse. The Disillusionment charm is a spell that disguises the caster or target in its surroundings, allowing them to blend with the environment. It has been confirmed that it will be used in game's stealth mechanics, allowing players to take a stealthier approach in combat. During your stealthy approach, you can utilize the Petrificus Totalus spell, also known as the Full Body Bind curse, to temporarily paralyze enemies. This immobilizes them, giving you the opportunity to either attack them or make your escape. This spell is a powerful addition to the player's arsenal and can be used effectively in combination with other spells like the Disillusionment charm. The Slowing charm, also known as Arresto Momentum, is a powerful spell that can be used to slow the velocity of an object. This spell can be used in combat to a great effect, allowing players to slow down enemies and give themselves more time to strategize and finish them off in creative ways. When cast on an enemy in mid-air, it can suspend them in place for a while, giving the player plenty of time to plan their next move. Additionally, casting the spell on an enemy can launch them into the air and freeze them for a prolonged duration. However, it should be noted that the effect of the spell may wear off if the target receives damage from the player. Let's take a closer look at two more spells before discussing the Unforgivable Curses. Starting with Confringo, also known as the Blasting Curse. It can be used in combat to cause powerful explosions and cause significant damage to enemies. Next is the Diffindo spell, also known as the Severing Charm. It's a spell that allows player to cut or tear objects with precision by using wand control. It is a powerful spell that can be used in combat to attack enemies by slicing them, causing serious injury or death. The Harry Potter universe is known for its powerful and forbidden magic, and the Unforgivable Curses are among the most notorious. These three spells, Avada Kedavra, Crucio and Imperio, are all slottable spells that players can earn in the game, but using them comes with severe consequences. The use of any of these curses on a fellow human being earns a lifetime sentence in the wizarding prison Azkaban. In the game, players will have the choice to learn these curses, but it is not yet specified in what context they can be used. However, it is important to note that the dark arts encompass more than just these three curses, and players should consider the consequences of delving into this path. Avada Kedavra is a powerful spell in the game, known as the Killing Curse in the Harry Potter universe. It is one of the three Unforgivable Curses, and can instantly take out any enemy, even ones that normally take a lot of hits to bring down. It does have a long cooldown before it can be used again. This spell is incredibly powerful, capable of vaporizing higher level enemies than the player with a single cast. It also seems to terrorize nearby enemies, causing them to cower for a few seconds. The Crucio Curse, also known as Crucio or the Torture Curse, is a spell that is capable of causing intense physical pain to its target. This spell has the ability to immobilize the target and inflict damage over time. The Imperio Curse is a spell that allows the user to control the mind of its target. It can be used in combat to turn enemies into allies, forcing them to fight as if they were your companions, and take reduced damage from other enemies to prolong their allegiance to you. The victim of the curse can be recognized by their glowing eyes. Additionally, those affected by the Unforgivable Curses will have a green mark on them. It is worth noting that the three forbidden curses, Avada Kedavra, Crucio and Imperio, are not affected by enemies' shields, further emphasizing their immense power and strength. The deluxe edition of the game includes access to a special Dark Arts battle arena, where players can test and experiment with the forbidden curses before committing to using them in the main game. However, it is important to note that all the players, regardless of which edition they own, will have access to the forbidden curses in the base game. I am familiar with the ancient magic available to the player, but I will not discuss it in this video as it's primarily used as a powerful finishing move in the combat combo system. I will cover this in more detail in a future video, so make sure to subscribe for updates on that topic. If you enjoyed this content and would like to see more about Hogwarts Legacy, please like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Your support is greatly appreciated and it helps me to continue creating and sharing this type of content. Your engagement and feedback are valuable and it helps me improve and create content that is tailored to your interests. So don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button and join the community. I'll be more than happy to keep bringing you new and exciting content about Hogwarts Legacy. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.